Hello, my CNC brothers and sisters. Welcome to an April rainy Wednesday, and where we do our CNC hangouts. Good day to be in the shop, at least in Indiana.
Yeah.
I don't know about by you, Kate. Is it raining by you?
It is pouring down rain. Pouring.
Yeah, good day to be in the shop and hanging with all of you guys. So
Yeah.
very cool, very cool. And I'm still determining the feed rate of M&M, so I'll be checking that out tonight some more. Anyway,
Oh my goodness.
so Sister Kate, why don't you start off with first of all, I guess we got to tell people who we are, right?
Yeah, probably should.
I'm Garrett with IDC Woodcraft, the guy that sells your router bits, and Liberty writes on the notes on all the packages and make sure you get M&Ms. And we do this Wednesday evening live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And next to me is my sister, our sister. That's you, Kate.
I'm Kate
You're on
Tucker.
stage.
You froze on us. So I'm Kate Tucker with Women Who CNC. It's nice to see you all back here. And I will apologize in advance if you hear the rain from my shop, because last time it was raining really, really hard and we did a live. I think you guys could all hear it. So there's that. But I will say a couple of house rules. So as most of you know that are our regulars here, but for anyone who is new, we do have a 9 p.m. cutoff time. If we have not answered all of the questions, we will try to do our best to get all of them answered. But if we don't have enough questions coming in that kind of lead up to that 9 p.m. mark, we may snag a few extras, but make sure to get your questions in good and early so we can address them. And then you get your questions answered tonight while you're on here. So that's the really important part. And then also make sure that you are being friendly to your fellow CNCers, because here at Women Who CNC and also with IDC Woodcraft, we have a zero tolerance for people being mean and ugly to one another. So as I always say, be a good and kind human being and we won't have any problems. So, all right.
Yeah. And in the background are our regular two star shining players. We got Liberty, who takes care of the shipping manager for IDC Woodcraft, and Julianne, who keeps us all organized and makes sure our inventory is getting ordered, and Liberty's making sure it's all straightened up. So these girls will be in the background as usual, taking care of business and making sure your questions get queued up. So Kate, why don't you say hello to a few of our friends out here?
All right. So I see, for the first person, I see Jack in the shop, but what did you have?
Oh, I don't know. Julianne, do you got a name? She's got a name.
This when I first posted it, I believe it was Brian Neighbor that commented first.
Okay.
Brian, okay.
Congratulations to Brian then.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
we gotta start coming up with a prize that we ship out, like maybe a supersized M&M package or something.
Oh, awesome. There you go. That would be fun. Hopefully they just don't melt.
Oh, Liberty's that back there nodding her head, too. Yeah.
We'll send it with an ice pack.
Yep.
There you go. All right. Well, let's see.
Say hello to some more. Keep going.
So we do have Jack in the shop. We've got Brian Neighbor. Mark Eldon, he says he's here from Kansas. Kevin Rich, he says he's popping in to say hi and hoping to make it, but he's traveling home. So let's see. Oh, we've got Mr. Mark Lindsay on here, of course. Hi, Mark. Good evening. Or let's see. We've got Vortex 8 is back. Welcome back. Chris Gallagher. I'm seeing a lot of our regulars tonight, which is so awesome. They're all like right up front. So we've got Oz. Hey, Oz. It's been a minute since I've gotten to see some of these. We've got Ralph, Brooks Martin, Joe Brannon. I see that there's a lot of things about V12 popping in here. Lots of good stuff. Richard Hitt. Oh man, Jim Nance. Ooh, I see something kind of fun here. I just kind of want to pop this in for a hot second. So Vortex said, "Hey, Kate, I'm headed your way again next week. I'm going to be helping with the CNC class." Oh, fun. So he's coming back out to the Mark Adams Woodworking School. Very
Sweet.
cool. Yeah. Hit me up. Shoot me an email over at the womenwhocnc@gmail.com, and maybe we can get together and, I don't know, go have a sandwich or a drink or something and just say hey and put a face to a name. That's always kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to check out that school too.
Oh, it's fantastic. They have a huge, like, their catalog comes in the mail, and I'm not kidding you, it's like this thick. Like, it's ridiculous.
I'm not on their mailing list. Julianne, first drink of the night. Julianne, get me on their mailing list. So the rule is, every time I ask Julianne to do something, y'all have to take a drink. So cheers to every CNC creator out there, no matter what machine you use or whether you're just a woodworker. Without a CNC machine, cheers. All right, let's keep on going.
All right, let's see. Oh, I see Rocco's on here. He's got, oh, I hear a little echo. Sorry. Let me make a little adjustment here. All right, so we have Rocco, James Freeman, Kurt from northern Wisconsin. So he's kind of over there. I'm not sure where Ellen lives in relationship to true northern Wisconsin, but last time I talked to her, they were getting a ton of snow and then rain. So
snow season's done.
Well, not in Wisconsin. I mean, they're right there. You know, that northern border. They're getting it. All right. Ooh, I always love our friend Flash Gordon from sunny South Africa. I love seeing that we have a friend from South Africa. That always makes my evening.
Yes. And sunny is a good word for today, since we are full of clouds today over here in Indiana, in the U.S. And it's actually a big rain band. It comes up from the Gulf of Mexico and just works its way up in this big, April showers brings May flowers. So we're in April shower month.
I know. It's awful. I'm over the rain. We have discovered we have some type of, I don't know, something, maybe like there's like a clog in one of our like downspouts because it runs directly down from the gutters, like down to the tile under our house. And I don't know if there's like a clog or something, but it's like keeps like seeping in one of our basement, like in our basement guest bedroom. And
just
I like
remember what it was like for you last year in your basement.
Huh?
Just remember what it was like last year in your basement.
No. I call it the Great Flood because it was 8 inches of water in our basement that was freshly remodeled, floors, walls, drywall, trim, the whole bit. Freshly remodeled, didn't make it 2 weeks, and we had 8 inches of water in our basement. It was so fun. But all of our sump pumps now and everything's all brand new, but now we have this other issue, and I'm just like.
All right. Well, cool. Hey, you know what? Before we dive in, let's see what's going on with the girls. Yep. For let everybody see what Liberty and Julianne's been up to these days.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring them on. Come on, girls. Liberty, what's been going on with you these days?
Mostly VECTRIC's training and working. I'm trying to get that knowledge in there all real good.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. It is. My notebook is quickly filling up.
Now, did you guys upgrade to the V12 right away, or
Not yet.
Okay.
No,
yeah,
but clearly I'm going to have to.
I know. I'm kind of.
Every version gives me more videos to create.
That's very
true. More stuff to learn, more stuff to do.
Yeah. What about you, Julianne? What's going on your end in the back end of IDC Woodcraft?
Well, like Liberty, filling up a notebook, but with different things.
Yep.
Let's see. Getting together all the caliper stuff.
Oh,
for that lovely launch. So I'm stealing one of your calls to action, Garrett. So if you guys are not on the CNC Insiders list, get on it. The link's down in the description because you may possibly get a discount. We're having our golden ticket, fun with that, where 10 people will win something.
Yeah. Here's the deal, brothers and sisters. So IDC Woodcraft is has now has calipers, branded calipers, and we went through about 4 different versions before we found a good industrial grade set of calipers. And so CNC insiders always get a discount when I release stuff, and so the calipers are going to be in that. And so CNC Insiders is the IDC Woodcraft email list. So every time we release a new product, unless it's like someone else's brand, then unless I can work something out. But with the calipers, what we're going to do is the golden ticket deal. So I just tasked the girls. I said, girls, just come up with something with a golden ticket thing, right? So there'll be about 10 sets that will have golden tickets in them. and I don't know, girls, what are some of the stuff that's going to be in it? I don't even know.
Do we even want to tell?
There may or may not be a shopping trip involved.
A very good shopping trip. Possibly something that we've been testing feed and speeds on to a very giant level.
Oh, okay.
Maybe a couple other little odds and ends. You never know.
Yeah. So the CNC Insiders list, if you want to get on the email list and get a discount on that, and take your chance at the golden ticket thing, then get on it. Link is in the description of the video. So yeah, that'll be fun.
And in answer to Eric's question, they are metal calipers.
They're industrial grade. I wouldn't touch plastic calipers. Oh my god, no.
Ooh, that might be rough.
I'll show you all. So this is the calipers, and it's branded IDC Woodcraft. Everything that's IDC Woodcraft is guaranteed. All right, this is calipers are good to thousandths of an inch plus or minus tolerance. These are you can see they got a 4th decimal place, but that only reached to 0.5 tenths of an inch. So switchable to metric, auto on and off. Huge screen for people like us who need a good set of eyes, right? Huge screen. So that's it. And yes, I'm going to be sending out an email in a couple of days on that to the insiders to give them a heads up. We got a couple more weeks because I think the golden ticket stuff still has to come together just a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get there. Yep. Okay. I got to send a pair up to Kate too, if you want a pair of Kate.
I'm always down for good calipers.
Yeah. Okay.
Noted.
All right. There we go.
I mean, let's just be honest. How many times do you put down a pair of anything in your shop and then try to relocate it when you need it next? Is it on the table saw? Is it on the big track saw? Is it on the CNC bench?
I've never
I have
lost
like 82 tape measures, and I can't ever find.
I had
the crappiest one is the one I can find.
6 tape measures, and I couldn't find them.
I'm always like, and then it's always like the most random time. I'm like, oh, well, there you are. Hello, little friend, buried under a wood pile. You know.
Yeah. Jeremy's calipers died last night. Okay. Well, you ready to hit some questions? We can hammer them early. Oh, by the way, next week is Julianne. Who's coming next week?
Rob Schuster from Sidewinder Drums. He's actually in the chat right now.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So anyway,
like 4 drinks now, I think.
Yeah, he's the one that's got the homemade drum CNC maker. Yeah, this will be a cool one. So I'll be in touch with him in a couple of days. All right, let's hit some questions, Kate.
All right.
Unless you want to share something. You got anything you want to share?
No.
All right, let's hammer out the questions.
I don't think so.
Bring your questions on.
Let's do Tim Compton. He says, our ER11 8 collets the same thread pitch. I'm looking for an extra collet nut for my spindle.
Okay, so ER11 collet standard thread pitch is 0.75 millimeters. So that's from peak to peak on the thread. The distance between the peaks is 0.75 millimeters. And that should be a standard. However, if you are running like a Makita trim router or something like that, it is probably a different thread pitch. So you would want to check with the company or do a Google search on it for your particular one. But if it's a regular spindle, it with an ER11 collet, I don't have one sitting here, then it should be a standard. You want to get the collet? Yeah, you want to get the nut. That should be a standard nut.
There you go. All right. Well, we'll take that off there. Let's see. We have another question from Mr. Mark Eldon.
Hello, Mark.
Can you only use an upcut end mill to drill, or will a compression bit work as well? I think we should tell him. Should we tell him?
We could, yeah. It'd probably be in his best fire interest to say something about this.
Yes. So I'll let you tell him, since this is your area of expertise. Okay.
So first of all, just to cover this one more time, there was dialogue to this question going on. We never drill with a down cutting bit, ever. All you're doing is, as that bit is going in, is moving the wood chips down, and so it's compacting them, and the speed of the spindle is just generating nothing but heat. I actually, when I saw that question, I was hoping I could set this up real quick on my machine to show you how fast you will generate smoke and get that hot.
Well, he's asking, can you use an upcut end mill to drill, not a down cut?
Yeah, right. I'm getting to that, but whenever drilling on a CNC router is mentioned, I got to say it. I have seen CNC router fires. It's burned up the machines, and people post them in Facebook because they did that. And what happens is that all that heat that's generated from down cutters is down in the bottom. And so it starts to smolder underneath the spoil board or underneath your project. And so as far as compression bit, it's kind of the same animal. You've got a little bit, you've got the bottom cutter on the compression, and then you've got a little bit of an up flute, and then the rest is down flute. All right. So you're creating a very similar situation where you're starting as you're peck drilling with that end mill, you're lifting your chips out. And then it's getting to the down cutter. Now that lift is fighting against that that downforce of the chips, and they're going to compact in the middle of the thing where the two meet, and it's going to create the same thing. You're going to get fire that way as well. So when you use an end mill to drill, you always want to peck drill, and peck drilling means there's a cycle. It's called peck drilling, and it'll come down, retract out of the hole, come down, drill a little bit more, retract out of the hole, come down a little bit more, retract out of the hole. It gives you plenty of time to get those chips out of that machine, out of that tool, because down or upcutting end mills are not necessarily, they're not designed to drill. They can create holes, but they're not made to drill. Drill bits are made to drill. So these are the drill bits from IDC routers to handle the high speed of the routers. So there's the high speed drill bits that you get from the store that you put in your hand drill. Those are made of high speed steel, and those are designed to be soft enough to flex. And that's why we can, when we're drilling, our hands are all over the place, but the drill bit doesn't break. And so that, and they also have a flat bottom on them. That's the standard high-speed steel bits. And because of that flat bottom, if it comes down like at where the grain is, from the hard grain to the soft grain, that drill bit, that high-speed steel drill bit will walk into the softer area, and then you get a hole that's going sideways. It'll pull the whole thing over, and you can potentially break it, but you're going to have uneven holes. So,
yeah.
And it's also with the high-speed steel, that's not designed to handle the workload and the high speed of CNC routers. And that's why I came out with the lightning bits. They're carbide drill bits. I got a 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch. Joanne, time to drink. Joanne, get a link. Put a link to the, just do a search for drill on the website and then grab that URL after you get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are designed, they got 3 bevels on them to make sure you start with a point, and because they're carbide, they're very stiff and they don't want to walk.
Yeah. Yeah. It's best to have the right tools with your CNC and not try to substitute and learn the hard way, because a lot of us have already been there. So we're trying to pass on that wisdom to you about what we've learned so far.
Yeah.
So,
and by the way, did I say to never drill with a down cutter? Yeah. And don't use compression bit. No, you don't want to drill a compression bit.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
If you're drilling periodically, one hole here and there, blue moon type of thing, then yes, you can use an upcut. Just use shallow pecs, 0.05 pecs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or find somebody who's really good with cribbage boards. There's, you know, they have a ton of experience with those, but all the ladies I know that I've had come into contact with in my Women Who CNC group, they have all said your drill bits are probably some of the best to do any type of drilling, just because they're well made, they're safe, they know they're going to get good, reliable results. Let me get that out of my mouth. So, you know, just having the right tools is 90% of your battle. So just do yourself a favor and add another tool to your arsenal, if you will. So, all right. Well, our next question comes from Rocco. He says, I've just resurfaced my spoil board. Does everyone now seal it with a sanding sealer or poly, etc.? So I personally seal mine with sanding sealer. I just feel like it gives a really good result. I know lots of other people have done that. Like Garrett can attest to his, like he has a vacuum table, and tell them what you did with yours when you got used your vac set and you did all that stuff for yours.
Yeah. So over on the Phantom over there, that I don't use sanding sealer, right? I use MDF board, right? But you always, MDF is porous, so the air will draw through it, but you seal the edges of it. But on the sanding sealer on your spoil board, it's not totally necessary. It's really not, because spoil board is there as a sacrificial piece of your CNC router. However, you can do that. It'll be okay to do that because it'll help keep down the swelling if you're in an environment that has a lot of humidity fluctuation.
Yep. That is literally one of the number one reasons people do that. So I do that, like I said, because I have my like service door over here and mine's right here. So if I open everything is backwards in these videos, drives me crazy. But anyway, if I open that service door in the summertime and that opens my spoil board or anything else that I would be have on there to that fluctuation. So that is literally the primary reason why people do that. So
yeah, if you choose to do that, again, it's not necessary, but if you choose to do that, here's how I would approach this. I would surface your spoil board, get it level, put a light coat of sanding sealer on it, maybe 1 or 2, and then come back and do a really fine surface on it again after you sand it, because that sanding sealer is going to absorb into the spoil board and it's going to expand it a little bit.
Yep. Because a lot of people have a tendency, that's a really good point. A lot of people have a tendency to put it on, like glob it on really thick. And the sucky thing with sanding sealer is MDF has that like texture fuzz, and the sanding sealer tends to like grip onto it. Think of like back to elementary school when you used to use like rubber cement and, you know, like little black bristly brush, and it would get kind of fuzzy and then it would just kind of roll and then it like bubbled and gooed. That's the same effect with sanding sealer. So I have that problem a lot, like especially when I'm doing a V carving and I use my sanding sealer to put on before. Like if I do it in the V grooves, I have to be very careful not to let it dry and harden because it does just get like all bubbly and then it doesn't look very appealing. So that's a really good point.
Yeah, here's a good point. Darren had said that it does help the tape stick better. So if you use the double-sided tape, which some people like to use the carpet tape. I don't because it's spongy. So I got the X-Fasten double-sided tape, which is very thin, and we are actually talking to them now to let's get that inventoried into IDC Woodcraft as I expand the product line. That and double-sided tape or painter's tape, possibly. I'm not sure because the painter's tape is pretty prevalent, but
it's one of those things. But the X-Fasten tape's good stuff. I've used that before.
Yeah, I think I got it over here. Hang on a second. Yeah, I did a short on it. I'm getting ready to make a video of 5 different ways to hold a CNC project on your router. So taping will be one of those, but there's the X-Fasten tape. And it's a very thin, double-sided. It's one of those tapes that you're like, get off my fingers, get off my fingers.
Like a fly trap tape.
Yeah, but it works. But everything's got its drawback too, right? If you got a warped piece of board, that tape, I actually had a project almost lost because I did a big 4-foot long panel on the long mill here, and just left it there for a little bit. I didn't put enough double-sided tape. I didn't put clamps down, and let it sit for the night. And what happened? It had a little bow in it and lifted up that. So I started carving and go, what the hell's the matter with this thing? And so
I hate that. I hate when that happens. Oh man. All right. Well, moving on, we have Brooks Martin has a question. Has anyone tried to stain wood with food colors, food safe concerns? So I don't personally know about this, but I do know Brooks, Tom, and Julie Frank in the comments. Tom does some incredible work with staining wood and even trees that he's personally grown and I think injected the dye into the trees. And then he winds up with these beautiful like teal and purple and red. And oh my gosh, they're amazing. But you should maybe do hit them up. And I'm sure Tom and Julie would be more than happy to talk to you about that because they are some of the kindest people you could ever ask to meet. And they would probably share all the things and all the tips and tricks you could need. So have you ever done that?
I have not, but I am going to try it now. Julianne, make a note. Everybody drink. I asked Julianne to do something. But that just brought me something that I wanted to show you in Hawaii. Yeah. In Hawaii, they've got these amazingly beautiful trees that are, it's almost surreal. When you look at the pictures, you don't believe it.
Really?
Cool. Here we go. Yeah. So there you go. Can you see that?
Yeah. Whoa.
These are cool. These are natural colors of trees. It's not all. It's a certain type. Eucalyptus, rainbow eucalyptus, they call it.
Liberty's like about to have a heart attack in the background. Her face. It's cracking me up.
Yeah. Seriously cool trees.
Yeah, those are very cool. Those are beautiful. I love nature. There's so many cool things.
Yeah, food coloring. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah,
I got my coloring. Okay, I got my grandkids coming tomorrow, so guess I'll have to play around with it. Gabe, my younger one, likes to make slime, so I got a bunch of food coloring to help him make the slime. His hands turn all green and blue. And
you got to put some gloves on that kid. That's gonna be there forever.
There's no fun. There's no fun if they can't do that. At least I know that food coloring is safe. He's still kicking, so.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Cookie sheets are good for food coloring too, especially with kids. Like those big metal pans like you buy from like Sam's Club. You just put all your tie-dye stuff in that. That's what we used to do to keep it.
I'm going to say, I don't, right. I'm going to say there's not going to be a problem with using food coloring because it is considered food safe. But
Yeah.
I'm really curious how it's going to work, so I'll try it on.
But
a
it
couple
does
different-
stain.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure it's going to stain. It will definitely stain the wood.
Yeah. Maybe have them make. Ooh, you know what would be even cooler? I'm just like thinking outside the box here. Like, what if you were to put some, like, carve a design, and then maybe like seal, like sanding sealer, like all the way around it. So then that way it doesn't like bleed, but then leave like the V carved areas or whatever you carve like open, like leave the wood porous, and then just like seal all the way around it so it doesn't bleed. Like the coloring doesn't expand. And then that way maybe it'll just like penetrate the V carve. I don't know. Might be kind of cool. Might be kind of a cool experiment.
Yeah.
Keeps them busy for a minute. That's kind of the idea behind it.
Right. That's from Liberty. She needs a piece of rainbow wood in her life.
Oh my God.
All right, Liberty. Next time I go to Hawaii, I will do what I can to dig some up. Yeah, just give me a big heart. Just give me a big heart.
Brooke says, pretty cool. Dad, I didn't do acid.
Just so you guys know, Julianne and Liberty are there in the background. We can see them. They can see us. So all the little stuff that they do.
Yeah, they're always fun to watch. They keep us entertained. You guys keep us entertained with questions. They keep us entertained with all their fun facial expressions in the background, if you will.
Right.
So, all right. So let's take our next question here from David Hittenberger. Opinion on cutting a profile with the extended 1/4 inch bit going 2 1/4 or 2.4 inches deep. Yeah,
So
do it.
Well, if it's talking about the IDC Woodcraft one, no, because it's not long. No.
With the extended one?
Yeah. So the extended one is I don't have my head right now. Let me look at the app.
Well, that's what I was going to do. I'm like, let me get my app out.
Yeah. So what app are we talking about? IDC Woodcraft has a CNC router bit app.
Looks like this right here. Don't mind my Dairy Queen app there.
Right. So if you want feeds and speeds, you can download the app. You go to Apple or Google, search IDC Woodcraft. You'll find the app, download it to your phone. I don't have advertisements, although I might promote something on the app once in a while. But and then you can get all your router bits into the app. So not other brands. The ones you get from IDC Woodcraft, you can kind of put them all. If you have these 5 router bits, you can create them in an index so they're all there. And then you can also get your bits directly from the app as opposed to going to a computer. I got tired of searching a computer. That's one of the reasons I got the app. So the overall length is 3.4 inches. And so if you want to go 2.4, you're going to have to leave.
But you've only got a flute length of 1.8. So
yeah. So what's going to happen here? You can do it if you follow the rule of thirds with the how to chuck your router bits. So let me get this sticker out. If you've ordered from IDC Woodcraft, you should have gotten this sticker. And this is for new customers, are the ones who get that. And this has certain rules on it. And you don't want to extend your bit out too far. You'll probably be in the yellow zone when you're chucking up your bit, which means you need to turn your RPMs down. You need to turn your feed rate down. But the other thing is, if the flutes are going past the depth, now you're going to have shank rubbing on the material. So you can get some burn there. You're going to heat up the bit. So you want to be careful. I've done it before.
Yes, I've stretched the bit before too, but the secret I've learned to doing things like that when I cut big like bowls that I'm going to pour epoxy into or do whatever I'm going to do with them. And the trick to really doing it the best way is a double-sided carve. Just flip that sucker over, and do it that way. I mean, if you're still going to want to take that depth and do it, I mean, I really like the extended bits, but personally, I don't like to do those. I don't mind them on a profile cut. Like if that's what you've got, that's what you've got. But personally, for that thick of wood, and I know I'm doing a profile cut, I will do a 2-sided carve and then do the hog. And then I'll just go in and do that clean cut, because the searing action on the hog is much cleaner than it is on the beast. Now you're still going to have those, lines in the side, but I just take like my spindle sander and you can easily get them out. But that's going to save you on your time, because the hog runs so much faster. So even on like a really hardwood, I would run the hog maybe at like, I don't know, like 0.3. I know I can cut 0.75, but I don't know if you're running a router or you're running a spindle. But if you're running a router, I would maybe do like 0.3, and then you can still keep the same speed. I think you could still keep the same feed too. I think that would be more than fine. But just for efficiency purposes, like because that bit is so long and you're trying to carve that deep, you really have to run low. The other downside is it's a screamer. It really is, because I mean, you got to think about it. You're taking like a long thing like this and you're asking it to cut, 2 1/4 or 2.4 inches deep, and it's like holding the pencil going all the way around. So if you're like trying to run it too fast, it's literally just going to snap in half and break on you. Yeah. So
just you're right about that. That didn't even cross my mind here. So the hog, these are this one on the top is the hog, the one in the middle is the beast, and the one on the bottom is the badger. And these are all considered roughing bits. And you can see there's a little knurl on those, like a serration. And so they can cut faster because they're not doing as much continuous work on the blade, but they also have not as clean of a cut.
Yeah.
So it's a good point, Kate. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. I know I say it all the time, but I really, really like the hog bit. If I had to pick one or two, I would go with the hog every time, personally, just because I really like the depth that I can cut with it. And like when I'm doing because I do a lot of epoxy work, as you guys all know. And when I do my pocketing to get ready to do whatever, I literally just will go in and I'll use the hog and I'll use the badger. I'll go in, like get out 90% of the material. It usually takes shaves off like 80% of my time. And then I go in and do a small like offset cleanup pass, clean up with my 1/4 inch end mill or my 1/8 inch end mill. I know some of you are going to say that's a lot of bit changes and I don't want to do all that. Okay, fine. Don't do that. Like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving you a recommendation. So that's just me, because I know I have a lot of projects I need to get done and I need to get like cut and out of my way. So if I have to change bits a little more often, for me, I feel like it takes me maybe under a minute to change a bit. So to me, it's really not that big a deal. And my bits are lasting me 3 times as long. So sorry, I know that doesn't do you any favors, but
yeah, that's such a good point, Kate. That's another thing. In the beginning, when we get into the CNC, we find that bit changes are a pain. We're like, how can I cut down my bit changes? There's a couple things you can do, but at the end of the day, if you need to change your bit, it's just part of the process. And we just, that impatience of not wanting to change a bit, looking to make it easier for you, is actually going to be an Achilles heel, right? This carving stuff it's a patient job and you want to do it right. So you just go with the process that you need to go with. But that's just another reason why we got the setup checklist, right?
Yeah.
How many projects have you forgotten like to set your XY on, or
several?
Enough? Yeah, me too. So this is such a common mistake. I saw a guy ruin a $7,000 table because he set his X, Y, Z, but the machine didn't take the Z. And it was an epoxy pour about the size of the table we were working on. Drove that 1.5 inch surfacing bit right down into that table. Fortunately, he could recover it. But so we forget stuff. It doesn't matter how good we are, we forget. You know, I'll be in a bad mood. We'll have something on our mind, or like me, I'm in the middle of making a video and I'm trying to teach at the same time and I forget, right? So this is why we got to set up a checklist. So this here is a checklist. It'll make sure you do your material checks, your hold down checks, your XYZ checks, and then you're checking again. And then making sure you turn your machine on, making sure you're putting your safety glasses on, making sure your hand's on that stop button when you hit the start button, that kind of stuff. So that checklist is free to anyone who wants it. There's a link in the description. We're going to drink again because Julianne is going to put a link in the comments that we're talking. So cheers.
Cheers. So I wanted to bring up something since we are talking about, you know, feed speeds, all the things. I've kind of started to develop a little bit of like a beginner checklist that I'm learning from a lot of like kind of compiling from a lot of my one-on-one students. Mm-hmm. And a couple of things that I have seen kind of like consistently in doing those is that if you have a router, it does not mean that you are allowed to put the router on 27,000 RPMs and run it wide open for every single bit.
You're talking about the trim router.
I'm talking about a trim router, a Makita, a DeWalt, any trim router that you are using for a CNC. They have a dial on them for a purpose. Yes. Yes. Well, that was a squeaky chair.
What was a squeaky chair? I'm just glad it was a chair and not a fart. Okay.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I just had to call that out because I know everybody in the comments was probably thinking the same thing.
Yeah. And it was the chair, by the way.
Yes, no, we're just teasing you.
But make it do it again just to make sure I get out of that one.
all in good fun. But yes, all of the trim routers, they have a dial on them, like Garrett just showed us, and they need to be adjusted. So when you see in your tool database, or when you go in to just edit the tool, like if you're in the tool path and you hit the edit button and you want to look at that initial feed and speed, or you're getting it off the IDC Woodcraft tool database, there is that available also to download. So make sure you do that. But you need to make sure and checking your feed rate, because, you know, if you're running an 1/8 inch bit, maybe okay, but I don't even run my 1/8 inch bits at 27,000. I don't think I've ever ran a bit at 27,000 RPMs. That's just obnoxious. I think the most I've ever run is maybe like 20, like, I don't know. I try to like stay between like 22 and 24 at the very most. Like even my V bits, like a lot of people run their V bits like 22, 24,000 for like a 60-degree V. I run mine at like 17 just because it tears the masking. If you're trying to carve any type of masking, that's a huge problem. So I don't know. I just kind of felt like called to put that out there. So if you are doing that, really, please, please, please check your feeds and make sure that you're setting that router. And if you need help with figuring out what your router speeds are for your particular router, probably that's something Garrett and I can probably put a list together of some kind and maybe help you out with that.
It's in the app.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. So you go to you get the app, you go to your router bit, and
router or other. So you have you've got all of the different
select your routers
in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of different routers in there. If you don't find it in there, then you can also go to do a Google search. It's going to come with the instructions with your router. It's going to be in the documentation on that, or you can just do a Google search for speed chart for your model router.
Yeah. Sorry, we took a little detour on the side there, but I feel like a lot of new beginners are kind of struggling with just knowing some of these things, because it's a lot when you're starting. It's very overwhelming to know all of the things, and you really haven't even figured out what your feeds and speeds and chip load and all this other hocus pocus is. And so I've seen it a lot because I go through kind of like what Garrett does on my checklist, and they're having issues with their project. And I'm like, okay, let's go through like my checklist of every little thing that could be going wrong as far as a troubleshooting perspective. And that's one thing that keeps consistently coming up with a lot of my beginners is they're just got it on 27,000 and they're wishing it the best of luck.
You know what? Let's talk, Kate. We'll come up with a document. We'll pull all the speed charts and we'll create a PDF for those who have that, because the tool database does not say, it sets the RPM, but it doesn't say what number it is, number reference. One of the things you can do, like I said, go to Google, get that speed table and pin it on your machine. Yeah.
So like this is something that I have done. And I know I'm a total nerd. You guys know I'm a note taker. It's in my DNA. But this is something that I keep literally from day one. I wrote all this down. So like I wrote down my router dial, like this way over here, like what all the speeds are. I wrote down all my bits and kind of what they run at. And then I've got my down cuts, and like I've added a couple. Well, I can't ever do this right. The Badger, the Hog, like my ball nose bits, my surfacing bit, and then I even have some notes on down here on my laser. But this literally sits like over here on my workbench. So if I ever need to do like a quick reference, what is a 16th or a 32nd inch end mill run at, because those aren't ones I use like a ton.
All right.
I can do a quick glance. So it's like a helpful little things help keep you on the right track and doing the right thing. Yeah.
And by the way, Kate was referring to people she teaches. So Kate does one-on-one if you're working with the VECTRIC software. And so you can go to the IDC Woodcraft website, go to the Learning Center, and you'll see one-on-ones. You can schedule time with Kate, or you can go to womenwhocnc.com, right? Yep. Schedule from there. So tell them who Women Who CNC is for those who have not been on this live before.
Yeah, so Women Who CNC, we have a website. We just womenwhocnc.com. There's a really cool interactive map. If you want to be a part of that audience, you are welcome to join that. I haven't really talked about that a ton, as probably as much as I should, but it's a really cool feature. And then Women Who CNC is a Facebook group. It's just a collective of beginners all the way up to really advanced women. And I think we are approaching 400. So we have been there are some really, really talented makers that I have seen. I'm doing a quick peek here to see how many people we have in our group. Oh, so nope, we are 40. Well, I am mistaken. Maybe I meant to say 450. I can't remember. I can't remember what I had for lunch today. Okay, don't judge me.
So
440 women.
If you're a lady who CNCs, then make sure you go to Facebook, find Women Who CNC, join the group. It's for women only.
Yep, it's very cool. I think you'll like it. All right, are you ready to answer some more questions?
Let's do it.
All right. So we have one of our longtime favorites, Mr. Jerry Karp. Is there any updates on the muscle chuck and the issues that people have been having?
Okay. Well, we will bring Julianne because she is the one that's handling that. So that's part of having an administrator, let that be managed. So I had the muscle chucks pulled from inventory because there were some issues that were going on with fit. And so we pulled them back and sent them back to the manufacturer. So what's the status on that, Julianne?
Status is we have sent back every return that has come back to us for muscle chucks. All of you that were having difficulties or problems, thank you for doing the whole guarantee process and getting those back to us. And they will be going through a quality testing phase from the muscle chuck people, and we will be getting hopefully results back soon.
Yep.
Very good.
All right. So that's the status. So we don't have a date for them to come back in stock yet. But I won't continue to ship them out while we're having quality issues. It's about 1 in 10 items is what we're seeing. So that's enough for me. 1 or 2 is I can handle 1 or 2, but we're getting 1 and 10. That's not good.
No. Okay. Sorry, I want to look up one quick thing.
Okay, we'll bring up the next one now. It's from Richard. You say, Garrett, love my set of engraving bits. All right. Good. Engrave away, brother.
Yes. Okay.
Jim Nance. Question: does anyone have the Aspire 12 yet? So yes, V12. Some people have it. We did mention in the beginning. I don't have it yet. Kate doesn't have it yet, but I'm following up on that now, and see what happens. Either I buy it or VECTRIC will be kind enough to donate a copy to me, one or the other. But I'll get it one way or another.
Yeah, definitely.
There was dialogue in regarding that V12. So
Okay. All right. Let's see here. So we have a question from William Cott. Hello from Northeast Ohio. Question: guide me through the pros and cons of the alt mill to fabricate composite outdoor furniture. Thanks, William.
Okay, the alt mill is the new 4x4 that CNC Labs is coming out with. That's the same company that makes the long mill here, and it's a pretty serious upgrade. I asked them if I could. I asked them if I could swap some of their content because I don't have it yet. I ordered it, but it's not going to be till July. So, but I can swipe some of the content to show people what this thing does. It's like badass. It flies. It flies.
Looks like it.
But composite outdoor furniture, thanks. Composites are not that hard to machine.
Mm-hmm.
But I can only say I think it'll be okay for that. I don't have one in my hand, so I can't say yay or nay. So,
well,
it's like,
I've got some of my composite decking left over. Next time you're up here or I'm down there, I'll bring you some, and then you can play with it with your Phantom, and I don't know, maybe see how that goes.
Yeah.
See how fast you can run it, or something of that sort.
I got several different types of materials here that I haven't played with. I got some ACM. I got that like 6 months ago, and I need to get that because I got to get that data out for the OFLIT bits.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it would be. It's always neat to do something different, I thought about making some of those. I can't ever say the word. Is it Adirondack chairs or
Adirondack?
Okay, that I thought about making some of those, but I will be honest. They always say that we have a Trex Tech deck. It's a mouthful. Anyway, they say it's not supposed to get hot. It's supposed to stay whatever. Stuff gets scorch your feet hot, like ridiculous. We have a rug on our on our pool deck, and it is like, unless you're standing on it like on a 90-degree day, you can't hardly stand on that decking. And so I'm kind of rethinking like making some of those chairs, but I like the more like composite, kind of more of the HDU.
Okay.
It's not the HDPE, but I think maybe more the HDU where it's more composite, if I'm correct on that. But those, I think that stuff would cut pretty well.
Yeah, HDU is high density urethane. So yeah, it's a different material. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What was I going to say? I was holding a thought on that question with the alt mill, and the thought has left. So I guess it just is what it is. Oh, by the way, I do want to ask. So I've asked several times, and people have been very generous to provide Google reviews for IDC Woodcraft. If you're grateful for what Kate and I do, or the service that we provide, the notes that Liberty leaves for you, and making sure that you get a pack of M&Ms. Those girls sort through the M&Ms to make sure we have reject M&Ms. I'm going to bring Liberty on. Liberty, talk about our reject M&Ms.
Our reject M&Ms. So we literally order our M&Ms in bulk, obviously. So they're not always perfect. And we have bags that are empty. They only have one in it. They only have a couple in it. And like, that just seems like a shame to just send 4 M&Ms to somebody. So we have a reject wall that they get put on the wall of shame.
Yeah.
You should put like a jar. You should have like a reject jar. Like
at this point, we're gonna need a reject jar because they're starting to fall off the wall because there's too many.
I can only imagine what that would look like. You could probably make wallpaper out of that someday.
I know what we can do. With the golden ticket with the calipers, Julianne. Here we go. With the golden ticket with the calipers, we can give them all the reject M&M packets.
There you go.
My God.
Feel like scratching winners with the reject.
The word new and reject don't go together.
We worked so hard on this, what to come up with to go with these golden tickets, and now you just totally knock it out of the water with all the reject
My hands
M&M.
are off. Sorry, my hands are off.
Wow, that's cool though. That's fun. I love that.
Yeah, I know what I was going to say about the alt mill. So the alt mills come in with the long board, the super long board. So long mill has been designing their Masso version of a board to run your CNC machine.
Okay.
So this alt mill is going to have that board on it. And what that super long board is capable of all the stuff like the Masso controller that's on the Onefinity is capable of. You can use a lot more G code, lots of different stuff. So anyway, what I was saying before I just stuck my head in the dirt was about reject M&Ms and the calipers. There was like
many things.
Yeah. So if you have not left a review for IDC Woodcraft on Google, I want to ask you that if you feel that the service we provided, the time we spend doing this, that you would take a minute to click the link that Julianne is going to be putting in the comments. Time to drink, because I asked her to do something, and leave a review. I'm shooting to get to 200 reviews right now. We have about 174. And why this is important is Google ranks businesses based on reviews.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very, very much so. All right. Let's take our next question from Mr. Ed Appleton. Very newbie here. Well, welcome to the family.
Yes. So you've probably figured it out. There's so many people out here that love to help each other. Yes.
All right. He says, I am trying to cut out raised text in Pocket using 1/8 inch downcut end mill and a 1/4 inch downcut end mill clearing. Problem is dots over the I, part of the T, detail breaking away, tried on poplar and redwood. So I saw this question out here and I was kind of like, okay, I've carved some poplar, but not a ton. Redwood, I've never tried carving before. That's what I was researching. It looks like it's very like pitchy and kind of like sticky. I don't know. It's just kind of like what I did, like what I could get a glance at real quick. But I'm not sure that it's the wood, but here's my suggestion. When I carve teeny tiny little pieces, what I do is I do a very small offset around all of my, like whatever I'm trying to carve with my letters and whatnot. And then I'll go in with my 1/8 inch and then I'll go in with my 16th bit just in that little bitty area. And then that way, when you're like, when you want to come in and you want to pocket out the rest of the area, that 1/4 inch end mill, you can even like reduce the, I'm sorry, I know you're a brand new newbie, so I don't want to throw too much at you. But so your offset is basically just like you're going to go around the letters. You're just making literally a small offset. It's on the left side, bottom side of your VECTRIC, bottom section of your what do I want to call them? Tabs. your drawing tab. It's the very bottom column. Do an offset around your letters, run your 1/8 inch or run your 16th or whatever you're trying to use. Do that, and then make the offset a little bit smaller, just a little bit. Then come in with your 1/8 inch bit, or I'm sorry, your 1/4 inch bit. Select your outside boundary and the offset around your letters, and then do your pocketing. And that will avoid that bit from even coming around and having the opportunity to take out the small sections of your T's, because I literally just did a sign that where all the text was completely raised. And I had to carve most of it with a 1/16 inch end mill in some walnut and some birch. And they turned out really, really beautiful. But that's kind of the trick I've learned to do that. Especially like if you're ever going to do flags when you're doing the union and you want to pocket out stars, like I do a lot of epoxy pours where I have to pocket out around the stars. And then I'll have that bit come in, that 1/4 inch bit, and it just will, it'll like clip the top of the star. And I'm just like, I can't get it to not rip it off. And that's the one trick that I've learned that's been really, really good consistently. So try that for pocketing out around letters when you're doing that stuff, and that'll really help you. You got anything
I
Miss
like
Speeds over there?
It's kind of weird. It's like it's raining right now. When the rain gets heavy, my reception gets really messy and really choppy. So I didn't hear half the stuff you just said, but we'll just leave it at that because you were telling someone else.
There you go.
Yeah. So did you answer it?
Yes. Basically what I said was do a small pocket around your letters, then come in with your 1/8 inch end mill or your 1/16 inch end mill, pocket inside around the letters with that particular bit. And then you'll do another really small offset from that original offset, just so you can clean up kind of that little bit of that leftover line. And you'll select your outside vector, then that most inside pocket or offset, pocket in around those, and then you won't have the breakage from that 1/4 inch end mill that's just, either on a raster or offset cut coming in and just having the opportunity, even like throw a chip or your dust boot or something, breaking it off, because it just really sucks.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm doing feed rate testing with M&Ms. I wanted to bring out this comment. So Ellen mentioned this.
Ellen, I see stuff. It says, Eric, the website for Women Who CNC is open to all. It's open to everybody. The Women Who CNC, there's all kinds of really good information on there. There's links, there's codes, there's all the stuff that I use for epoxy. There's the interactive map. There's all my contact information. There's scheduling for one-on-ones. But the Facebook group itself, on Facebook, Women Who CNC is for women only. That is our one space on the web for Women Who CNC. So I'm sorry, we do not allow men into that group. We're not trying to be mean. We're just, women speak a different language, and we've had a lot of butt heads in other groups be really mean to women. So this is our safe space. So I'm so sorry, my friend. But we still love you.
Okay. Yeah. So we have 21 questions in the queue. So let's start popping them out. It is top of the hour. So you can put your question in, but we're stopping at the 9 o'clock. If we get this cleared out, if you've asked your questions before 9 o'clock, we're going to get to it. So
yeah, man.
Just hang on. And if we manage to clear these out, then we'll start hitting the next questions.
All right, let's do it. Joseph Hughes, question: what is a good bit to use for 3D carves for roughing or clearing the broader before starting a finished carve? That is going to be your hog or your beast, any type of roughing end mill. IDC has 2 of them. Actually, they have 3. I'm so sorry. They're 3. So you have the beast, which is a little bit shorter and stockier. It's really, really good for removing a lot of bulk. I really like it for a lot of hardwood projects that I do and hardwood 3D carvings. And then you have the hog, which is a little bit longer that I was talking about earlier. And then you have the badger, which is the 1/8 inch clearing. So you could start with whatever you're trying to do. You could start with the beast and then throw in the badger to go in and clean out more. And then do your 3D roughing with your, 1/4 inch ball nose, 1/8 inch ball nose, whatever it is, tapered ball nose, whatever the, order is you're looking to work with. Right.
So, yeah, to let you know, we do have a set for 3D carving that includes the I'm going to share screen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 3D carving set that includes it's the beast and the fine detail taper ball nose and the ultra fine detail taper ball nose.
That's a good deal for those.
Yeah. So you use the beast to do all your roughing work, and yes, you can use the roughing bits to clear all that material out, and then you come back in with the taper ball nose, and those will take care of it. So I'll throw a link in there. No drinking this time because I'm doing it, not Julianne. The link is going into the comments, but Julianne, put this link in the description, but create a short link for it. So I guess we got to drink.
All right. So we have awesome opossum crafters.
Awesome opossum crafters. I love it.
I see it.
Sounds
Garrett,
like it's from Louisiana.
That's what I was thinking. Garrett, are
Yeah.
you as stoked about the alt mill as I am? Mine will be here in May.
What? We were at number 25. It must have got in there before us. Dang it.
May? Yeah, he beat you by 3 months. He got you beat.
Maybe we'll get ours in May too. If they're bringing them, I'll be talking to them next Monday. I talk to Long Mill every 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I can't wait for the CO2 laser to come out.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be neat.
I can't wait. It's going to be the only company in the U.S. that makes, or North America outside of China, that will make a CO2 laser that's available for this market.
That's awesome. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Mr. Rich says, I have never seen one, but is there anything that works for a 0.062 1/16 roughing bit? Oh, Lord. I don't think so. That's tiny.
Yeah, I had to fight with my tooling company. They said they couldn't make the 1/8. They didn't have the tooling. And I always pull out my trump card for my line of thinking. It's like what Henry Ford said. I said, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right, but I'm going to have my bit. Right. So after them pushing back, I said, if it's not you, it's going to be somebody else going to make this. So they took the time, they figured it out. Just like the downcut ball nose that we've got. We haven't released them yet because we haven't tested them. By the way, product testers. Some people have applied to it, for that. I just want to thank everybody. We've got it narrowed down to, I think, 4 or 5 people. We've sent out emails, and we'll send out emails to the rest of the people saying thank you. But so,
be very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see here. So,
I don't think we answered the question. There is no 1/16 roughing bit out there, and basically, I would have to pull some serious teeth from my suppliers to create that. But I would think that even in my mechanical sense, that would be a stretch, a real stretch.
Yeah, I don't even know how much you'd be able to take on that because that would be, that'd be a lot. All right, let's see here. Up next is Brooks. So, Mr. Brooks, we kind of talked about this earlier about your standard drill bit in your CNC. We talked about that and how that has the variation, the flex, which are going to not get the desired results that you want. So
if you want to use a standard drill bit, you need to come in with your V bit first and create a counter bore hole. You need
Yeah.
to create that pilot guide for that drill bit to sit into.
That's a good idea. Think about it that way.
Mhm.
It's a good idea. All right, let's see. Mr. Cherokee Vapor. I am a captive viewer tonight with all the rain here has washed out both ends of my road. I would be watching if I wasn't trapped anyway. Oh my gosh. Well, I hope you have a way out when it stops raining.
Yeah.
Most.
Yeah. Hopefully you can get out when I hope your road isn't that washed out. But sometimes it's kind of a nice feeling if you're stuck out in the middle of nowhere and you get stuck in the middle of nowhere because it's all washed out. As long as you got your food and the stuff that you need.
Yeah, you'll be able to get out here in a couple days. I think they said it's supposed to rain for like 3 days here. I was like,
Yeah. It's supposed to rain till Friday. Ohio River is high right now. I'm going to expect it to break over River
believe it.
Road.
It's getting to be a little crazy here. My husband just graded we have a long gravel drive, and he just graded the whole drive, and then all this rain has come in and it's just like moved it all back. So all right, let's see here. So we have Rick from RW Pins. You good folks have put a lot of work into organizing the IDC video archives, and I am grateful for the list. Any way to add HTML links that could send you right to the specific ones? He's asking, is there any way to add HTML links that could send you right to the specific ones? I think he's talking about like your paper list, like the PDF link that you send out, to adding hyperlinks to that.
If it's the most recent one, they're all hyperlinked. You should be able to click right on the name. All right, we just went through the whole thing, and so it should be hyperlinked. You should be able to click right on the title of it, and not. We put the HTML. You've got a whole bunch of extra stuff.
Okay.
So, but if there's an issue, I'd be kind of curious. If there's a problem, we want to know so we can get it fixed. So you can drop an email with what you have to Garrett at idcwoodcraft.com, and let's take a look at it. We'll fix it up.
Very good. All right. So Mr. Jerry has another question. Do you ever find yourself cleaning out the router bit path as it goes along, cutting out the chips from the path being cut? Feels dangerous. Yeah. Do it all the time. Do it all the time. Chase it around with, you see my shop vac over here? That's why it's, because sometimes, like I said, like I love the hog and I use it a lot. And sometimes, it can take that 3/4 inch pass all the way down and it just barrels through it, but it does get a lot of chips kind of stuck. And sometimes the dust collection can't quite keep up with that. So that's why I stand there and just kind of chase it around. So it's not like, I have a dust shoe on mine when I'm doing it, so I kind of know like where my safeguards are. Like I'm not like, don't have the open bit flying around and I'm like right up next to it chasing it. So, common sense goes a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, common sense will take you a long way in life. So stay away from the bit if you're curious what that means.
I have seen people, they've cut themselves pretty bad on bits. So always use precaution if you're getting your hands near there, please.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let's see here. David says, question, any chance of an IDC 3 32 drill bit or any other sizes beyond an 1/8 and 1/4?
The next one that I would come out with, and Julianne, please write this down. Drink time. Is a 3/8, and what's between 1/8 and 3/16?
I was going to say your 3/16, you have your silver bullet, which I really like.
Yeah, that's a down cutter, the silver bullet.
Yeah.
So he's talking about a drill.
So it'd be up.
Bit.
Yeah.
Part of the problem is the cost of making it.
Mm-hmm.
It would cost the same as the 1/4 inch, and but it's worth it. I think it might be worth it because I've had several people ask that. Also, we're going to start working on that 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch, 1/4 inch shank with a 1/8 inch cut.
That'd be nice.
I tend to steer away from that because it creates a weaker spot in the
bit.
there's more potential for them to break.
I could see that.
But I get a lot of requests for that too. So I'd probably do a 5/8 flute length on that and no more. I want to maintain the strength of the bit.
You know, I know this is going to sound like a super goofball request, but you know how you have your reducers for like your 1/4 inch bits for the 1/8 inch bit or whatever. Those reducers are the exact same size as all of our bits. And I have mine in my little tool arsenal. So every time I need one, if I accidentally throw it in the wrong thing, it's like a manhunt. So I'm like, where is
a couple more?
Scrambling through my toolbox. So I'm like, I wonder if he could make those colors. Do you make it like a red or a blue or a green or something that would like pop out at me?
Yeah, that would be a trick. I can put neon flashing lights on them, maybe.
Or maybe Kate needs to get more organized. One of the two.
Yeah. We'll put a tag on it, right? The what do you call it? The air tag.
Yeah.
So you can find it with your phone.
Oh my gosh, I know. I'm terrible with those things.
As far as the 330, oh, go ahead. No, as far as the 3/32 drill, I'll look at the drill sizes and see. But I have never had a call for this size before. And one of the things has been with the drills, it's not that big of a deal as far as the step down from 1/4 inch shank to the smaller drill size. It's not that big of a deal. 3/32, that's smaller than an 1/8.
I know it's pretty small.
That's cool. I was out of check with my tooling company. Sometimes the cost outweighs the demand. If there's a big enough demand for it, then I start working on it.
Yeah.
I have debated working on a really long, like a 5-inch 1/4 inch cutter, 5-inch length, with maybe a 3-inch flute length. But those would break all the time. People, you've got to be so careful with that stuff. So careful. So I'm just not going to that area. I may still do it. I'm not sure.
It's not even that they're super breakable. It's the sheer fact that there's just not enough knowledge out there about using them. Because people still would assume, I'm speaking in general terms here, a lot of people would assume that you can still run them at the same feed and speed just because they're a 1/4 inch, just because they're a little bit longer. Like I said, there's just not a lot of knowledge. And if you haven't used one, you haven't seen like the vibration that can come off of them. And then, I mean, it really depends. Like I've seen a lot of new beginners, they break a lot of bits, and it's sheerly because, they try to use that same standard speed and feed for when you're cutting a piece of pine or you're cutting a piece of MDF. And they're like, oh, I want to try a piece of cherry or a piece of oak. And then they just assume that you can run that bit at that same, 0.25 cut. And they haven't backed off, the passes, how deep the bit can cut, results of broken bits. That's every single time you have to consider that. So,
and by the way, the app, the IDC Woodcraft app, does have different wood species in it. Not all of them, but it's got a lot of your common ones. So you can select your wood species, and it'll tell you the feeds and speeds for that wood species.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Our next question is from Les. Is it typical to have more vibration using 1/8 inch bit opposed to a 1/4 inch bit?
Yeah. But kind of not too. Right. 1/4 inch bit can do a lot more work, but 1/8 inch bit has a 1/4 of the material that a 1/4 inch bit has. All right. That's why the 1/8 inch bits are shorter. to eliminate some of that vibration that you were just talking about, that he's asking about.
Yeah. I'm kind
I
of
would say,
wondering.
go ahead.
No, I was just thinking like vibration, if he's, you know, if maybe, you know, everything's tight in the gantry, if you're having like a considerable notice, like vibration, because I mean, to be quite frank, like, because those are like my two go-tos all the time. And I'm, like I said, I'm usually like running my vac, or I'm like right in this vicinity, and I don't really notice any type of like considerable vibration. So I'm wondering if there's maybe a bigger issue that you need to check into. By the way, since we've been talking a lot about roughing bits, I want to bring something to your attention. Is when you're doing like a big, like, let's say 3D carving, like we were talking about earlier, or you're doing a wavy flag, or you're doing something where you're doing a lot of roughing, please, please, please check all of the nuts and bolts on your gantry, because those things are so dang powerful. And when they're cutting that deep, they can actually tend to loosen the nuts and bolts on your Z-axis. So do yourself a favor, do a sanity check. Like I like to say sometimes, and I know Mark Lindsay says that a lot, do your sanity check. Just make sure, check all those little things, because if you're using a trim router, it can create some issues for you. And I figured that out. I did a big, beautiful flag, and I had run the hog, the beast, and they had run for, I don't know, 5-6 hours, and it just vibrated the shit out of my gantry. So I was like, when I went to put in that taper ball nose and carve out the Pledge of Allegiance on it, it was all jacked up. And I was just like, it ruined the whole thing. So just want to put that out there for anybody who does a lot of roughing.
Yeah. And on that note, do maintenance on your machine. Schedule your maintenance, or your machine will schedule it for you.
Ah, yes.
So periodically, just make sure that you, depending on how often you use your piece of equipment, will determine how often you want to do maintenance on your machine. And but just do maintenance, follow your manufacturer's recommendations. All CNC companies should be giving you a list of the maintenance that should be performed on that machine.
Mm-hmm. Keep it close by. I call it, you guys are going to laugh at me when I say this, because I'm a list girl. I call it my, instead of my CNC maintenance list, I call it my bathroom checklist. It's kind of like a joke, because, like you go into like Walmart, or you go like into like one of those like, big box stores, and they have like that clipboard on the wall that says like, who's cleaned the bathroom the last time, and they all have to, like, that employee has to sign off on it. So if somebody goes in there and it's a mess, like, they know who to go find. So I call it like my bathroom CNC checklist. But it's like my maintenance list. I keep it right here on my desk, and then I'm like, when was the last time I did maintenance, and what all did I do? So, it's like everything else. Sorry.
Brother Mark popped in. He says he does a check on his machine once a month.
Yep.
Bolts, tighten, lube, even do a square check. Right, make sure it's still running square. I mean, I don't do that, but it's just another thing to do. But I wish Mark was on here right now, but just because this is all part of the stuff. I probably need to create a maintenance checklist too. But this is the IDC, the setup checklist, right? We got that, which is free to you, which you should do. Mark swears by this stuff. When he's on here and he says he was in the service, he was doing airplanes, right? Doing aircraft mechanic. And if you didn't do your checklist, right, that's, I guess, court martial or something along those lines, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pilots use checklists to keep your plane from crashing. We use checklists to keep our CNC projects from getting ruined. This checklist is free to you. Liberty, Julianne will put a link, one or the other will do it. They'll put a link in the comment section, and it's in the description of the video. Drink time. Have a drink, Mark. He's the one that started this whole thing.
He did. All right. Next question. We have Casey. I have a question. Well, let's answer it. What's the difference with the hog bits over a regular end mill for clearing?
Fire away, Kate.
So hog bits are roughing end mills. They have a searing action on them that is very rough and rigid all the way around. It has like little teeth all over it. And your end mills are going to be for your finishing work. They're going to be much cleaner. They're going to have that smooth down cut edge that you're looking for, or whatever, I guess, look you're going for. They are finishing bits. Roughing bits are roughing for removing lots of material. End mills are for finishing. So kind of falls in ball nose, tapered ball nose, all that good stuff.
All right. I'm sorry I'm laughing. Ellen said because of all this drinking, she said now she's got to pee.
I love it.
Yeah,
I know.
The hogging bits are designed to cut down your runtime. That's why we use them. If you push a standard spiral end mill at the rates that you can push a hogging bit, you'll break the spiral end mill. The hogging, the IDC Woodcraft bits, the design, the feeds and speeds are all set up for you. You can go up to 3/4 of an inch at a pass at 80% step over, right? So you're taking off a ton of material right now. And so it can save you up to 5 to 10 times your roughing time. Whenever you need to pocket material, remove a lot of material, that's what they're there for.
Yeah. And something else I should bring up just for the sake of like new beginners. When you are doing a 3D roughing pass, you will notice that you do not have like an edit pass like you would in a pocketing toolpath, like a traditional pocketing toolpath. So let's say you're working with a piece of cherry wood and you want to do a 3D finishing, and you know that the hog can cut a 3/4 inch bite all at one time. So what you're going to need to do in order to not only preserve the bit or your machine or whatever it is, you want to make sure to go into that 3D roughing toolpath on the right side of VECTRIC, under where it says like the tooling and it says select and then it says edit. You need to go in and edit the actual pass per depth. You need to change that to like 0.25 or something like that. Because if you don't, what will happen is that bit will try and plunge 3/4 of the inch all the way into and start moving across that oak or that cherry or I'm trying to think like a poplar that's really hard, and that bit is just going to scream to death. And if you're using a trim router, boy, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. So I just want to put that out there because I know a lot of people really love 3D carvings and they're beautiful and they're not that complicated to do within VECTRIC, like kind of once you get your feet wet with them. But you can still break your bits and you can still tear up your equipment. So please make sure that you're doing that. And then the other nice thing about that edit button is that you're only editing it for this specific job. If you open up the tool database and you go in and you edit pass per depth, it's kind of like you're changing like the memory in your hard drive. Like you don't want to edit it.
Change. Yeah, it'll be a global change.
Yes. Yeah. That's a really good way to look at that. Yeah.
You don't want to do that. Leave the tool database alone. Just edit the things. But so the database, if you don't know, IDCwoodcraft.com. On the menu bar, it says database download. So if you have VECTRIC or Carbide Create, Fusion 360 or Carveco, we have a database for you. You can get there free, download it. It's all yours.
Yes.
And one of the things about the hog that I have seen a pattern on when it comes to cherry, right? You have to run a little bit slower because I've had more bits break, more hogs break with the cherry than any other bit.
Yeah.
So it seems to be the one where most of the breaks occur. Not that we get a lot of breaks, but
it is possible.
Bits do break. That's why IDC's got the 90-day guarantee. No other router bit company will do that. If you break it, we'll replace it. No questions, right? Shit happens. We know it. It's the price of doing business and keeping your machine running.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotta be careful, guys. Gotta be careful. All right, so let's see here. We have
locust. I'll have to check it with black locust.
Oh, that sounds
William was saying check it with black locust.
okay.
There's only so many woods I can get my hands on, brother. But
That's fair.
that'll be a
He
worth
usually
one
comes to visit me to get different kinds.
Yeah, okay. For sure.
Yeah, we have I usually have a decent variety. And every time he comes to visit, he's like, hey, you got any of this?
Kate's got all kinds of slabs over there. It's like, holy cow. Can I have that? Hell no. It cost me $150.
I know, right? Oh, I don't know where I moved it to. I have some English walnut. Oh my gosh, you guys, it's so beautiful. It's just like, it's stunning. I just want to buy like all the English walnut that's out there. It's so beautiful. All right. So I'm not even going to try and pronounce this. Redgeric. I'm not sure. I'm terrible. I don't want to slaughter your name, so I'm just going to call you R. Has a question. Can you add food color to mineral oil that is food safe? I mean, as long as you're food coloring, if you're going for a food safe like theme with you would need to use food safe food coloring, and then mineral oil that is food safe. I don't see why not. No, I'm seeing a theme with this food coloring.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Not really sure.
It's
Hopefully,
not really something I've really messed with before, so that's a little
if
different.
anybody can answer that kind of question, please put it in the comments.
Yes, please.
Helpful. There's one more question I'm going to star because it's an interesting question. So just so you know, Jamie, I've started your question. So
okay. All right. So we have Tar Heel 43.
It'll be a little bit before we get to it. Sorry, Kate.
No, you're fine. Where can I purchase 1/8 inch thick alloy 360 brass sheets, and what type of bits for engraving brass and cutting brass? Thanks.
Yeah, so I have not cut brass, but first of all, when you're cutting metal, you want to use upcut end mills that have the bottom cutter. So all upcut end mills will have bottom cutting edge. And if you want to engrave, so that the taper ball nose, the ones I showed before, I will bring them back up. So that's the 3D carving set, but there are these two taper ball nose. Julianne, time to drink again. Julianne, put the link for the taper ball nose into the or Liberty, one or the other. Those will do brass and aluminum. So, but I don't have feeds and speeds set for them yet.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question.
3.
Could you could probably do
1/8 thick is not much. Brass cuts really easy though. Brass is a really easy material to cut.
I was going to say you could probably use V bits because they're upcut, right?
Yeah, no, they're side cutting.
Okay.
Yeah. Any kind of upcut bit will work for metals. The down cutters you can't do that with.
No, you wouldn't want to do that.
Compression bits you can't do it with either.
All right. Well, hopefully that helped you with your question. I don't know. Do you know where he could buy 1/8 inch thick alloy brass sheets?
Oh, that's right. You can get it off of Amazon. It'll probably be the best start. But then just do a search for sheet metal. I would do sheet metal.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, just do a Google search for sheet metal brass outlets.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, Mr. Brian Page has a really fun question here. I'm just curious, what does IDC stand for?
IDC stands for I don't care.
Let me see. Hold on.
I don't care. It stands for I don't care Woodcraft.
I still have my OG IDC sticker. You guys can't see it in the camera, but see the orange and black one over here? That's
you got the old one there. Wow. Huh? I go back. Yeah. You got the old one. The old logo.
I got the new ones too. I'm just saying I have that was like the very first purchase came with that And so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, my first sticker, I'll put it on my workbench.
And it says on that sticker what IDC stands for, which is Imagine, Design, Create.
Very catchy.
Yeah. Yeah. But now with the I didn't even think about it until some people started asking me about it, because that's the short text. It's like, by the way, BTW. And people short text, I don't care. They just type in IDC. So I learned that one too late.
I know, it happens. I won't tell you. All right, let's see here. Next question comes from Daryl. Just got my long mill M2K running and downloaded Carbide Create, paid the big bucks for it, and found out it doesn't work for the 48 by 30 mil. What do I do?
Ooh, I don't know. That I don't know. If you contact Carbide Create and ask them, but if it doesn't work for it, I would still contact them. So, because if there was no disclaimer that said it wasn't going to work for it, they should refund you that license fee.
Yeah.
A good company would do that.
Yeah. I think they're pretty reputable. So, I mean, I can't see why they wouldn't. Do you think maybe it might just be like a different post processor that he might need, or?
Well, no.
I mean, you're the long mill guy, so I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't use Carbide Create. It should generate. Yeah, the post processor should generate, if you have the right post. There should be no reason. But so Carbide Create is put up by Shapeoko. Carbide Motion is put up by Shapeoko. And I'm not sure if I heard this right, but Shapeoko was an Arduino-based platform, but I'm not sure if they changed that, and now it's more proprietary. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I would definitely contact the company.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So I heard something interesting the other day about
Greg popped in, by the way.
What's that?
Greg from STL Woodworking. Hey, Greg.
Oh, hey, Greg. How are you? So I heard an interesting, I think it was one of my students, they said on the new Onefinity, they were trying to use a 64 gig like thumb drive, and they said that it wouldn't work, and they contacted the Onefinity support, and they said that you could only use a 36 gig thumb drive. And I'm like, well, that's weird. I'm like, because I don't know what mine are, but I know they're pretty beefy in gigabytes, but they said it wasn't loading the G code, and you had to have like a 34 gig like thumb drive. So I was like, that's kind of odd. Like, I'd never heard that before. So I don't know if you're having that problem. I just thought I would share that and put that out there, that if your G code isn't loading into your machine and you have a Onefinity and it's a newer one, maybe try a lower thing. That just, all these like weird things kind of pop into your brain when people ask these kind of questions. You're like, oh, by the way, like I learned this week, maybe I should share, but who knows? I mean, there might be somebody out there struggling and find that.
Right.
Never know.
As far, I would, going back to that question, I would talk to Carbide, Shapeoko, tell them what's going on. They should be able to neutralize the license, so it can't get used anywhere else.
Yeah. All right.
Greg just put a comment. He got his Abbott up and running, put together and running. I just got his first project tonight. So Greg is from STL Woodworking. He was on the show last week as a special guest. You may want to go watch it. He had a lot of tips about inlays and epoxy work. And when I went to epoxy, I was like the odd wheel out. Kate and Greg are like just on it. I don't know anything about epoxy.
Oh no, it's fun. You're coming along. You're learning.
Yeah, all gonna have to, because we're talking to Total Boat.
Yeah,
so
you've got some cool projects.
But I said I'll just have Julianne and Liberty learn epoxy. I'll pop them in, see what they think about that. So, what do you think, girls? You're gonna.
We've already been discussing it again tonight.
Oh, have you?
Oh, okay. Yeah. We've got some good ideas.
Okay. So brothers and sisters, these girls are going to be doing videos on the IDC Woodcraft channel.
Ooh, that's very exciting. Congratulations. No.
So
You gotta
epoxy work. Here we
I'm
come.
excited to see that.
I'm going to go get the project that I have tasked for them and you, Kate, because
Oh,
Greg, yeah, this is going to be a tough one. I'll be back.
Okay.
I'll be back. You know what? I might as well leave them out until I come back. Look, Liberty, okay.
I was like looking at my computer. Like,
No, you're fine. So I think what we should do, I think it would be super fun if you guys came down and you could bring that project and then bring your total boat, because I already have, all the epoxy things, and then we could just like do like a thing where we're learning about epoxy, kind of like what we did with Garrett's big table. Which by the week, next week, I am really hoping to get that underway, because I am like 3 projects from finishing, and I'm like so close from being completely caught up with all of my projects. And I'm like, I am going to shoot the content for that. I'm going to get that video up. We have so many things to do, but I think that would be so fun to like for you guys to come down and then we could do that project.
I am game 100%.
Now Garrett may have to like part ways with you guys for like a day. I don't know if he'd survive.
I don't know.
Are you kidding? He'd probably be in tow.
So,
Like, I'm not going to let him know all the fun.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
I was hiking in the woods with my girlfriend a few weeks ago, and she pointed something out. I said, that was so cool. I wanted to get it, and I want to epoxy this. And then create a big, like, it's kind of hard to explain what I want to do, but put it basically in a picture frame. This is like a tree bark, and something was growing up underneath it and turned into this spidery webby thing, kind of like. And so I want to create that into a clear epoxy fill.
That'd be neat.
This thing is so delicate.
Oh, I can only imagine. So are you looking to like encapsulate it, or just have like the entire piece, like just like brushed epoxy? Okay.
Yep. This is what you and me and I was talking to you and Greg about last week after the show.
Yeah.
And you guys were saying you need to just dab, fill it first, and then whatever. I don't even know. That's up to you guys.
I've been watching videos. So.
You what?
I've been watching some of the videos from Total Boat and a couple other people, and I'm like, okay, fill all the holes that could create bubbles. Do it in tiny layers. We're gonna get it. We're not gonna screw it up completely.
I know. I gotta go save this thing. I'll be back.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Yeah, lots and lots of patience with epoxy. I mean, I have a piece, like I was saying, that English walnut I was using, and I'm making a sign for a business for one of their like indoor specialty rooms. And they wanted the logo for that room. And I was like, this English walnut would be gorgeous. And then I got to looking at it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there are like 9 bajillion little holes and cracks in this thing. So I'm going to have to seal this entire thing before I can even begin to do any type of carving on it, because otherwise the epoxy would just bleed into every single little crack. So
can you do like a tubed syringe in it? Like it's changed little tube where you're like syringing into the tiny little holes. I'm thinking bug.
No, just very thin flood coats, just very thin, and then it just absorbs all into it, and you gotta let it dry and then come back and kind of do it all again. Otherwise, what happens is it just bubbles all up from the inside, and then it just gets and then you're just wonky. It's just one big because it's just like all those little bitty air pockets are literally just releasing like tons of little bubbles, and then those come to the surface, and then they don't really ever quit coming to the surface, and then they harden, and then you have to go back in and drill them out, and it's just like 1 coat, 2 coats, 3 coats.
So maybe what we'll have to do is get the 3 girls together, and they can just create a video. I'll do the camera. Me and Adam will do the camera, and you guys just do the stuff.
Yeah, there you
We're
go.
scaring Mark though. He says Julianne and Liberty loose in the shop with a torch popping bubbles. What could possibly go wrong?
I'm a pyromaniac already, so I mean it's going to make for a wonderful video, Mark.
Okay. Look, remind me to up my
note to self: only allow Julianne with the heat gun.
It's still heat.
Yep.
I can do
Just
terrible
remind me
things.
to increase my insurance before we do this.
Yes, mine too. Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, fire.
All
I could
right,
bring
ladies.
out a real torch if you want me to.
No,
I was
no,
gonna say, I've got one in the kitchen.
no. I mean, we have a flamethrower for our big burn pile, but I don't think we're going to get that out just yet. No. But you know what? It is really fun when I have big pieces of wood that I want to burn and char, and then do epoxy on. Like that's one of my big projects this year. Is like I want to find like something really cool that would look amazing charred, and then do something really cool like a side table or something, because the charred epoxy look with like those really bright blue, bright pigments is like insane. And so I really want to do something with that. I'm super excited. Mm-hmm.
All right, we got 9 questions hanging out there. All right, girls. Here we go.
Adios.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's see here. All right. Mr. Paul Schuster has a question. How do you set up VCarve Pro to do a roughing cut and a finish cut as far as, I don't know what, NR of toolpaths, etc.?
Number of toolpaths.
Oh.
Yeah. I am going to do a video on this because I get this question a lot. You have to offset the roughing bit by maybe an 05, and that
Yeah.
04, maybe 03.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yeah, you have to offset it so it's not cutting along the finished edge, and then you come back in with your finished bit on the standard line with no offset.
Yep. So Paul, actually, I can help you out because since Garrett's going to make the video, if you want to learn right quick, I have a Tree of Life video over on my Women Who CNC YouTube channel. And like the very beginning, I talk about a little bit about the project, but then I talk about using the roughing bit and then to come back in and clean it up, because that's exactly what I needed to do. I used that because the Badger was new at the time, and I did the 1/8 inch Badger, and I carved out like all of those intricate little leaves with the Tree of Life, and then went back in and cleaned it all up. So you can go back in and watch that first little bit, because I give you all the information right up front. And then if you want to learn more about like the allowance offset and the offset allowance, I teach you the difference between the two in the profile and the pocketing toolpath. So there's a lot of good information in that video. You can go check it out. And maybe if Julianne can find it, she could link it in the comments for you.
Now you have to drink. Yeah, Julianne, find that video. Tree of Life on Women of CNC.
There you go. All right. So let's see here. Dwight Ferguson, what about the Amana Tool EX tension 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch by 6?
He's probably talking about a comment when we're talking about the long bits. He's talking about the long bits. So if you can check, it's an extension tool. 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch. So yeah, it's an extension, like a bit extender, but that's not going to really extend the length, the capability of the bit.
The flutes.
Yeah.
The carving, the section that you need to carve.
TE-136. I'll look it up in the meantime. Go ahead with the next one.
All right. So I will go ahead and let's see who we've got here. P-Flash23. Question: would there be a problem with a water-cooled spindle in an unheated garage?
As long as you use antifreeze in it, there won't be a problem.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, I use antifreeze. I use windshield washer fluid in mine, so it's good down to -20 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know where you're located, so it's kind of like, as far as like the actual CNC operations and things like that, is I don't know where you'd want to run your. I don't know if it's so much the spindle. It would be more the CNC that I would actually be more concerned with, like as far as what temperatures you're trying to run it in. That would be my concern. Have you
Yeah,
seen
if,
any, like,
if you're running it in a cold environment, you want to let your machine warm up for a little while. Should have a little warm up cycle that you have when it's cold. It'll move the machine around the axes multiple times. It'll run the spindle up and down several RPMs for a little bit. That'll warm everything up.
okay. Good to know. All right. Mr. Tim Bonowitz. How can I tell my router speed? I'm guessing I'm using a 27,005 RPM router speed with variable speed switch. With variable speed switch, go halfway on the dial and guess.
Okay.
No.
No. I'm just going to show you. Just type in your machine. So we're going to type in here. I'm going to just share. Here's how you can find it. Here's how you can find it. I think I can go there. I have to go to, okay. So we're going to type in, first of all, we're going to come here. So I looked at that tool extender. That tool extender will not work the tool extender is literally just moving your tool down with a bar. Tool extenders are too much. So we were looking up, what was I looking up, Kate?
The router guides for he looks like.
Okay. So I'm going to look up the Makita.
There you go.
70.
It's something like a router table speed, something like that.
Yeah, and I want to just come in here with the. So there's that one. I'm going to put the table. And images, a speed table. There you go. Type in your brand, your router brand, the model number, and type in speed table, and the speed table for your router is going to show up. There's the one for the Makita right there.
Mm-hmm.
And Inventables posted this one. Well, it's not there, but it's right there. You'll get that.
Yeah. And so I will tell you these numbers. If you want to take a picture with your camera phone, there's the router that I got, the speeds right there. That is what I got off of a Onefinity group for the Makita router. So like when I count to 5 here, and you're going to have to take it away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
All right. You have to email me if you want, if you didn't get it, if you didn't get your camera out in time. But that's,
or get the IDC Woodcraft app. Your router should be on it.
Yep. There's that too. Keep your handy little notepad. It's been sitting over there for 2-3 years now. I've rewritten it a couple times because it's gotten a little hair scary, but all right. Let's see here. Mr. Rich says, oh, great. We are going to start drinking when you ask Liberty a question.
Oh, yeah. That's so Julianne will have to be one of them's going to have to be the bourbon. The other one's going to have to be the whiskey.
Oh, boy. that could get scary rather quickly.
All right.
Yeah.
How did Liberty get in here on time, though?
Hell, I mean, yeah, it is what it is. All right. Any recommendations when 3D carving on HDPE? I've had great results. Basic carving, but with 3D carving, I'm getting a lot of fuzzies. Spiral cutting helps, but not perfect. Interesting.
I've never done 3D on that.
No, me neither.
These questions come in and going, shit, now there's something else I got to try to figure out.
Well, you know what, John? If I have, because I literally just got a 24 by 20, it's right here, 24 by 24 sheet of black HDPE. I will try a small 3D carving on that one. I have some scraps.
Yeah,
I don't know that they'll be very big, but I can try it.
Yeah, the thing with HDPE, you need to use an O flute to cut it. So you're using different style flutes when you're trying to 3D with it like a taper ball nose. I would say if you're going to do that with that, you might want to turn your spindle speed up a bit.
Okay.
Play with your feeds and speeds. But I'm
Okay.
guessing you're going to have to bring your spindle speed up. Be careful of melting, though.
Yeah, that's honestly what I was kind of thinking, but I was like, I mean, because it's basically plastic, so it's going to melt. So as far as a 3D carve and using a ball nose, I mean, like the 1/4 inch ball nose runs definitely a little bit slower, but the 1/8 inch, I mean, we're moving at 27,000. So is it generating too much heat? But the tapered ball nose,
If that was in demand, I would figure out a way to come up with a ball nose O flute. Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested.
Anyway, yeah. Well,
Okay.
Kate will experiment.
Yeah, we'll do some experiments. All right. Absolute Best Custom Wood Products Padilla says when trying to use an image from Google Images like a saw blade, would the image be worked first, then text, or other way around?
I would work the image first.
Yes.
Build your text around the image. Based on the image. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if you want to bring it in and do the trace, and then you can just turn the trace layer off. You can do that because sometimes when you're designing, you may get the saw blade in and then discover that after you trace it, that the vector trace of it might be too like wonky. So I would maybe like trace it first, preview it, see if you like it. And then if it's not a good, clean image, try again and then go from there. That would be my best advice, because I would hate for you to try and design something around it all and then not do whatever. But I absolutely do agree with what Garrett is saying as far as like designing around the image, because you're going to have the full like PNG, like the depth of it, so you can really get a good like clean look versus just looking at like lines and vectors. Then you don't really get that full like dimensional look that you're looking for to see if what you're creating is actually going to look good with the picture. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
All right. Jamie Bullock, what is the smallest bit that you would run on wood? I have intricate designs that I can't get the detail I want on a 60-degree V. Tell them about your doily project that you made.
About which project?
That little doily that you made.
Oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, I don't have it here. So I took a really complex doily. It was about that big and carved it out with a 30-degree V-bit.
Isn't it on the IDC website?
Yeah. It probably, yeah, it's actually with that bit. So I'm going to pull that up. SV-30. Okay, so let's share that screen.
Yeah, because that's a really good image of it.
Super high detail. You can see that detail. That's another. That's not really a doily. That's another design I did, and that bit that you're looking at there is the one that did that. So it's a 30-degree engraving bit. That's a bladed style bit. It's also considered to be a V bit, but that's what you can do. That's what you can use. The other answer. So
my gosh, it almost looks like a laser engraving. It's so fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to get this link for this. Control C.
I will also say when you're using these bits, when you're using them, if you're using them on the regular, check the tips of these bits, because I've ruined a few different projects by just assuming it was fine, putting it in and then running it. And it had like, I'd like chipped the very, very tip of it. And so it wasn't giving me that detail that I want. So
now, one of the things that this style bit will do when you're doing your engraving work is it's going to leave fuzzies, but that's really easy to get out. You take a toothbrush and rub it over it. It's actually, they're clean. It's just little tiny hairs that it's still holding on.
mm-hmm.
So I linked it in the comments.
Okay. Very cool. Oh my gosh, I think we are actually going to end on time here. Let's look at this last question. Same question. My router does not have a dial, and I'm using an aftermarket speed switch that just has low, medium, and high variable speeds.
That's a crapshoot. That's a
What
crapshoot.
He said.
Yeah.
Him. Oh.
Wait,
Him.
Wait, do that again.
Him.
Point again. Wait, your screen froze. Oh, wait. Okay, get your finger in there. More. There we go.
You guys, if you just don't understand. You would think your brain would want to do the right thing, but it's never.
No, it's backwards for us. Yeah, that's kind of a crapshoot. You're gonna have to. I don't even know where to start with that. You have no speed dial, and you had to buy a separate switch that's going to adjust the voltage. But the one thing with that is because it's adjusting the voltage, you're losing torque on your router. So that can have an effect on the feeds and speed settings.
Here's my 2 cents. You can take it or leave it. Make something really cool, sell it, and go buy yourself a new router.
There you go.
Spindle. That's what I do. That's what I would do. Because I don't like playing Russian roulette with my bits. I don't like wondering if it's tearing up my, maybe my CNC. I don't want to ruin the wood. I don't want to ruin the project. Whew, that sounds like a dangerous game you're playing, my friend, but kudos to you for probably doing very well with it. But that's what I would do.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing from Jeff. He said there's an iPhone app that determines frequency by sound. So basically what he's saying is if you can use that, figure out some math, and then you can figure out the RPMs that the machine is running at. But I don't know.
Holy smokes. So here's another one. Darren said there's an RPM counter like $20, Amazon, eBay, etc. All right.
RPM counter. Okay. Let me take a look.
Interesting. I wonder what that would look like.
It'd probably be we'll find out. RPM counter. It might be just like, here, let me get a link. It's a photo tachometer. So interesting.
Okay.
I mean, I'll show you this. I'm going to put a link in the comments too. But I'm going to bring it up. This is different. It's like one of those little thermometer guns.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this thing right there. So you probably put one of these little strips on a part of it, and that's going to count how many times it comes across it reads during the RPMs, how fast it counts.
I feel like Mike bought me something like that. Hold on a second.
Oh, this is so totally cool. I want to get one.
Okay, so this is what my husband bought me. This came in my stocking for Christmas. A digital tachometer. I don't know. I don't know if that's relatively the same thing, but measures range 2.5 to 99,000 RPMs.
That should read RPMs.
It has a 0.05% accuracy.
Wow. Open it up, check it out, and put a piece of that tape, if it's got something, on your spindle and run it. I got to ask the boss if I can get one of those toys. Julianne, can I get one?
Oh no. My gosh. Hey, it does.
Figured she'd say no. It does.
Yeah.
I don't need to buy one. She's got one. I can borrow hers.
Yeah, there you go. No, it's Yeah, I've literally never opened it. I don't know. I guess because I'm a creature of habit and I'm like, I know what works, so I'm not going to fool with it. But I think this is maybe when, oh, I know why he bought it. I think it's because he bought it for me when we bought that. Yeah, that goofball little spindle. I actually have 2 of them sitting right here. And I'm like, what am I going to do with these things? Like, I have absolutely no purpose for either one of these because they're they're too low. They're too low of wattage for them.
All right. Jim Hawthorne says we got the exact same thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, at the top of the hour, I'm going to bring the girls back out since we have done all our questions.
I'm excited for us, you guys. We actually finished at the top of the hour on time at our 2-hour mark. That's like, we have not done that.
Proud of you guys.
No, we're 5 minutes past.
Well, we've been yakking about this thing, but
yeah,
we hit our last question at the top of the hour.
All right. All right. Okay. Well, we've thrown all the links in there that you guys need. Make sure you get the setup checklist. There's a link in the description. Get the IDC Woodcraft phone app. You got your router in there. You got all your settings in there. We've done our best on that. We're adding M&M feeds and speeds to it. And remember the calipers. Get on the CNC insiders list. I will be sending the email out in about 2 days to let the insiders know about the calipers that we're releasing, and you'll get a discount on that. And the golden ticket is being put together. 10 golden tickets with the calipers. So we'll have Chip just put them in a few boxes, and then so we won't even know when we pack up.
Ooh, that'd be cool. That'll be fun. Fair. You guys should do like a mini live event of the packing.
Ooh.
And that way, that's what everybody does when they do live events, like when they do giveaways or something. Like, or they'll do whatever they do, like a little mini live event. So then that way they know it's fair and square. So
I didn't know about this. Cherokee just said he can't wait to see the reject and epoxy pour. I must have been up there when you guys were talking about that.
That's when we were like, yeah, we've already been talking about it tonight.
Yep.
That would be so amazing. You could do like a little mini like epoxy pour. Like you could oh my gosh, I already have ideas.
Even like the empty ones, we go ahead and put the empty bags in, but then like the ones with like a little bit in, we can open a few of them and kind of like sprinkle some M&Ms around.
Mm-hmm. But see, here's the thing. I have a laminator because you have to laminate the paper. Otherwise it'll like dissolve and get all yucky in the epoxy.
Fair.
And then we could just like put some not sanding sealer. We would have to like spray the M&Ms with like a little touch of something so they don't like dissolve, because they're chocolate, and with the exothermic reaction of epoxy, they'd probably melt. So we'd have to do a little something, but that would be fun.
Play with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's y'all give Julianne Liberty some love for hanging out in the background. They didn't spend a whole lot of time up front, so make sure you just tell them thank you. And brothers and sisters, we will be here next Wednesday, 8 p.m. sharp. And we got a special guest, so be there.
All right. See you guys.
Love you.
Good night.